Well, that was epic. I just got back from seeing Dune. Finally been able to see it. Living in Australia. It came out in the US about 6 weeks ago. I've been waiting an eternity. It feels like I've been waiting an eternity for this movie to come out. So it's finally here, finally got to see it, and it is truly just something to behold. So Dune has an absolutely stellar cast. It's got Timothee Chalamet, Josh Brolin, Rebecca Ferguson, Dave Bautista, Jason Momoa, Zendaya, obviously. Zendaya. So Dune is about basically that they're trying to get this spice off this planet called Arrakis, which is where Zendaya's character is from. And Timothee Chalamet is part of House Deity? House something. So essentially, spice allows for this international galactic travel, and it's the most expensive thing in the universe. And anyone that can harvest it obviously becomes super rich. So the Harkonnens had been harvesting it for 80 years or something, it said in the film. And now they got kicked out because of the Emperor, the all-powerful Emperor, who we don't see, by the way, throughout the whole thing, which is, I guess it's a good thing if he pops up in the sequel, which there definitely will be, already announced. The Emperor is clearly this all-powerful dude, and he has ordered Harkonnen to leave Arcanus. So many weird names in this movie, man. Far out. So yeah, that's the general gist of the film. Now, this film, you know how people say certain films you need to see on the big screen, in the theater, it has to be done. I've never really found that to be true. I think, most films you can sort of just see wherever, and it's pretty much the exact same thing. But in the case of Dune, 100% needs to be seen on a big screen. This movie was, oh my God, this movie was so epic. It was absolutely stunning to look at. The desert landscapes all over Arcanus, it looks phenomenal. And on Timothee Chalamet's home planet, I think it's Caldenon. I might be wrong. If I am, that's what it actually is. It's this water foresty looking planet. It looks stunning, the whole movie. When the ships rise out of the ocean and there's all the water pouring off, and it's this beautiful waterfall. It looks so beautiful. It looks so beautiful, I swear to God. All right, I'm sure a lot of people that see this movie probably think that it's quite boring and that not a whole lot happens. But I think the world building that goes on in this movie is phenomenal. You understand the stakes. You understand that the Emperor is this all-powerful being. He has got all of the main houses on all of the different planets in line, and this guy runs the show. You know that everyone's sort of power hungry. Everyone wants to, be richer, be more powerful, be the strongest. And that really comes across in this movie, and you can tell that the way it was crafted, so perfectly executed, and it builds, and there's so much tension throughout. The characters interacting is the driving force of the story, which is fantastic, and it's great. And although there isn't a whole lot of action, there's a couple of big action set pieces and a couple minor fights here and there, you don't really worry about it too much because you're so invested in the characters that Denis Villeneuve has crafted with this film. And it truly is it's so compelling and so deep. The characters have real depth to them, and you understand there's so many layers to the backstories of these characters that you could spend 10 hours with this cast and in this world, and I think it would fly by in an instant. So Dune's runtime at 2.5 hours long, it flew by, man. It flew by. I swear to God. I just need to say quickly, there's this one scene in the first, I think it's probably about an hour into the film, or probably not even that far actually, it's probably about 40 minutes in, and Timothee Chalamet's character needs to put his hand inside this box and just hold it there while he's got a poison pen stuck to his, or about to be put in his neck if he pulls his hand out. The tension in that scene, oh my God. And Timothee Chalamet is there, he's sweating, he's shaking, everything's happening. And then that Dune theme kicks in, the one from the trailer, the one that's that opera singing voice, that epic sounding drone that kicks in. I got goosebumps sitting in the cinema. That scene sums up why I loved this movie. It was so good. So criticisms of this film. I think if they could have put the same amount of money into it that they did, it probably should have been a series on like Amazon or Netflix. If Dune was a series instead of a film, you know, you wouldn't have to wait another probably 2 or 3 years until the sequel comes out. It would be phenomenal. It would be one of the most watched series like ever, I think. Like, it would rival like what Game of Thrones was, because it's that epic fantasy scope and you could spend, you know, hours with these characters. That would have been the ideal way to tell this story, I think. If you could have had the exact same people involved and the exact same amount of money behind it as a series, that would have been phenomenal. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So, you know, the film was fantastic, like absolutely amazing, but the fact that, and now we're gonna have to wait like at least 2 years, probably 3, until the next one comes out, it just sucks a little bit, because it's there, the story's there, the next step is there, you can see where it's going, but you need to wait 2 years, and that is a downside. And that's the thing with part 1 films, you know, it's always the case. Part 1 films are, generally speaking, always worse than what the part 2 is. And although I loved this movie and I think that it was phenomenal, the fact that there's no real payoff to it, it's just world building, spending time with the characters, which is great, but there's no payoff to the story that's being told, that sucks. And that leaves people leaving the cinema thinking, oh, it could have been so much better if it was just a conclusion. So Dune, clearly I loved it. I would give it, I was going to say a 9, but I think it deserves a 9.5 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10 for Dune. I was in love with this movie. The only thing that sucked about it is that there was no real payoff, but part 2 is going to be elite. Part 2 is going to be unreal. Can't wait for it to come out. Obviously, it's going to be time until it comes out, but still. So, Dune, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Drop a comment if you've seen it. Let me know what you guys think. And please like, subscribe. Obviously, this is a brand new channel. Hopefully I'll be trying to get at least like 1 video out a week, maybe 2. There'll be some throwbacks in there if I'm not seeing anything new. Subscribe, like, drop a comment, all that. Stay tuned for the next one. All right. Peace.